Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
Good afternoon to you all, wherever you may be this afternoon. This is another alternate time for us to come as alternate anchor. The last time we met was 2 weeks ago, and here we are again. I am Adetoyese Shitualamo, your anchor for today's edition of Pertinent Questions. I have with me in the studio a man I would like to describe as a foremost scientist, a frontline politician some 20, 30 years ago, before he left the scene, and a man who has redirected himself into what we can call small-scale industrialization. He is no other than Dr. Albert Olajide Akinyemi. He is simply called Dr. Novatech because some 48 he came from his Olympian height and came to settle in the Ofatedo community and establish an empire within the community. Call it a community within the community. The people of Ofatedo admit that Novatech on its own is a community within their own community. It is this great Nigerian that I have the privilege of welcoming onto Pertinent Questions this day on Western Spring Television, Oshogo. Doctor, you're most welcome.
Thank you very much.
It's been quite some time. Yes, I was telling the viewers that particularly those who were born less than 40 years ago, that there was a young man who came, studied abroad and came to establish, he was a scientist, but chose not to be in Ibadan or Lagos, but come into the rural setting. Why did you have to leave academics as a PhD holder in science rather than go to teach in the university, and you chose to set up Novatech Industries in a rural area like Ofatedo? At the time, states had not been created, and Oshogo itself was a very small city.
Well, thank you very much. In those days, if you studied in Europe, you only been privileged because you have what I call functional education. Not just the certificate you are talking about, but you are very skillful. So when I was in the university, I was deep in science, and I knew Nigeria was going into petrochemical, like NNPC was about to be established. And I said, I won't be practically involved in science. It will be better for me to establish a chemical plant in Oshogo. I did the research. Where will it be? The feasibility now favor Oshogo. We went to Ibadan. We went to Alaafin. We went to Olaoye. You know, then in Ede. Then when we studied all the feasibility reports, it favored Oshogo because one, the rail is in Oshogo. The road and the ECN, they call electrical, you know, was in Ede then. Then we have the water in Ede. So all the possibilities and the feasibility favored Ofatedo. That was why we set up Novatech chemical plant in Ofatedo in 1975-76, shortly when I left the university at the Strathclyde University in Glasgow.
When you left as a graduate or a postgraduate?
No, When I left as a graduate, it was in Blackburn, now Blackburn University. I studied textile. I was engaged in a laboratory, very big laboratory in Kaduna. Then I lectured on part-time at the Polytechnic.
Okay.
Then I went back to Strathclyde University for a postgraduate on heat setting of polymers. It was when I now left Strathclyde University in 1975 that I established Nubatosh Chemical.
So just to one that is an acronym, a combination of names.
Yeah.
Would you like to share?
Yes. The NEU is Neuma. Neuma is a Swiss friend of mine. He is a very skillful scientist in Switzerland then. Then BERT is my name, Albert. Then OSH is for Oshusoya from Djibouti. Then we have New Batosh. So three of us combined efforts together to establish the factory.
But you were running it. He was in Switzerland. The third leg was here in Nigeria.
Yeah, because it was my initiative.
Okay.
I just co-opted all of them. The one in Switzerland there, the one in Nigeria didn't have education, but it's a businessman. He invested.
Okay. Tell us, what, particularly the younger generation of Nigerians, what were your products in those days?
My products in those days, like I said it sometimes, you know, when they were establishing the NNPC, the derivatives of raw materials coming out from NNPC, you can use them for polymer, like nylon, like all fabrics. And we can equally use them for resin. And part of it, we can use them for liquid detergent, disinfectant, cosmetics, and so on. They were all there. So I picked disinfectant, industrial, hospital, and household chemicals were being produced in Nubatosh.
And who were your bigger customers? Yes.
University of Ilorin, who were producing those three items for them. Ife University, Ibadan, and Abeokuta. Then the local people, they have even the hospital, the government, they do. And even down to the north, in Kano, Kaduna, were producing for them there.
Okay. In spite of all these efforts, the place, I don't want to use the word dead. Is it dead?
Well, it's moribund.
What's the difference between the two? You should know it better. Why you chose moribund instead of dead?
Well,
are there still some traces of these productions that you used to, items you used to produce?
Well, I see how
I've been there a couple of times.
Yeah, I see how my laboratory, but I don't operate. One, age is not to my own advantage. I'm older, I'll be 80 some few days from now. And my children
are not here.
They're not even interested in what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Some of them, as you know, scientists, they're not interested. And training people into it is not very easy.
A scientist should be interested in a science-oriented
line
like you had.
Exactly,
before.
Exactly. You know, in Nigeria, I cannot tell you what we are facing. Like Bank of Industry, they approved some money some few years ago, about a year or 2 years, about 50 million, that we should establish this factory.
But re-establish it.
Re-establish it. Unfortunately, when it goes to Lagos, it was turned down. So if it has been approved, it will have been resuscitated for other scientists to pick it up. So you are
when you said Lagos, is it Abuja you wanted to say, or
maybe Abuja? I don't know where the managing director is.
Okay, of what? Of
Bank of Industry.
Okay, everybody is in Abuja now.
Maybe I don't even know what they are.
Okay,
but I know they approve of it. They came and I saw it. It was approved in Osogbo by their manager, and it was turned down. And why was it turned down? They said part of that particular land, which is about 3 acres of land, was sold to one Royal Heritage Hotel, and part of it I gave it to Redeem to build a church. And I still have more than 2 acres. And Oyetola, the governor, then and Aregbesola, they said they should perfect the documents of war. It was perfected. It was signed by the governor, and the commissioner wrote to Bank of Industry that the money should be given because it will help unemployment.
Okay.
Yet they turned it down. Maybe it's political.
Was it the minister or supervising minister or the Bank of Industry that turned it down?
It was Bank of Industry, but I reported it to the minister, who is Niyi Adebayo.
I'm going to come to that shortly because I have it on record that you belong to the class that ensured that the Bank of Industry was set up.
Oh, yeah. That is a fact. If I am a British person and I've done that for the country, that such a fact bank can be established, I will have no problem in getting loan to resuscitate my dying industry.
Okay, so when the time was good, you used your own initiative to suggest to government, federal government, to set up Bank of Industry. Yeah. And when the need came that Bank of Industry should come to your aid, it refused to come.
Yeah, that is Nigeria for you. And that's why we're not making it.
Okay. Maybe one or two things you have said about why the place is moribund, to use your word, not dead.
Not dead.
It means there is still hope. Maybe some other time another king will come and he will know Joseph.
Oh, definitely. Okay. He's coming up.
I want to take you back to the time you wanted to go to the university. You were going to study textiles.
Yeah.
And was there any drama surrounding that initiative you wish to tell us?
It was just I stumbled into it by luck. Because when I went for my passport in Lagos in those days, in the 60s, they asked me whether the course is available in Nigeria. If you go to immigration or passport office, if your courses are available in Nigeria, they will say stay at home. But when they look into it, they knew it was a new course in the country. So it was approved, and my visa too was granted. I was only lucky because even when you talk about textile, to me, when I was young, I thought textile belonged to the primitive people, like my mother, using ordinary loom, locally made, to produce fabrics. But when I now got to the university, I knew it was great science. It involves mechanical, electrical, chemistry, and other aspects you can think, any subject you can think of.
I still find it difficult that a country like Nigeria should allow a then flourishing establishment like Nobotuch, who had impact the university, who had impact on the society generally, and even the poor, should allow things like this to just die, get moribund, and then finally crash out. Because anybody who visits your factory, what used to be a factory then, and goes there now, it's just like what you find in Dunlop and Michelin, etc. Why is this so? You are an elderly person. Why is this so in our country?
I'm happy you are asking, but I'm not surprised because you are a sophisticated, enlightened journalist.
Thank you, sir.
You know, in Nigeria, that's what we call Nigeria factor. When it comes to Nigeria factor, impossibilities will always crept in. And that is exactly what has happened to my factory. Look at it. Obasanjo set up, approved the establishment of Bank of Industry. He asked Anglo Abdullahi, the former VC of Ahmadu Bello University, myself and 16 other people who are together, to put our heads together to establish, quote me for it, Obasanjo is still there, Atiku is still there, and now, Bank of Industry, they are doing fine. If only for a reason that we initiated it. For that reason, and the type of qualification I have to have established it, I will have been encouraged to allow it to expand, to employ more other scientists or other researchers to work in that particular factory. But Nigeria factor is there. Look at the governor of the state then. To be honest with you, the state government, I will always respect them for what they did. They sent the ministry, the lands department. We are only for more than 5 years. And the government keep on writing to the bank that there's nothing wrong for this, approve the money. And yet it was not approved in Lagos. Even the people here, they were embarrassed. Their own bank, they were embarrassed. That's Nigeria factor for you. But I know it's just a face.
Didn't you have cause, one way or the other, to get to the managing director to tell him, look, oh, young man, we are the people who established this bank?
I wrote it down in my petition to them.
Okay.
And I handed the petition specifically to Niyi Adebayo, who is the current minister. And I went to him one-on-one in his office and I said, Niyi, look at this. You know my factory, you have been to my factory before. The governor has approved that there's nothing wrong with my landed property. And he said, look, I am not a banker. And I cannot blame him. Because if he said, okay, approve, the banker said, are you a banker? He said, there's nothing I can do because I'm not Bank of Industry.
But he was and is still the supervising minister.
Oh, yes. This issue will still be revisited.
Okay. Okay.
Because I know I'm still taking it up for whosoever.
We'll come there.
Oh, of course.
Okay. Let's digress. And this is perhaps an appropriate point to digress.
And very good.
At the point you wanted to be governor of old Ondo State.
Yeah.
What prompted it? You were going to leave the lab to go into politics.
Yes, because I've traveled far and wide, and I have a functional education is in Europe and coming up. I thought becoming a governor, as an example in Ondo State, will help the masses. I had a very good plan then. I was young, I was very energetic, and I had good plans. That was why put me into it. But when I got there, Nigerian factor, I came second. Olumilua won at the primary. But I think, like what is happening today, Obi is contesting to be a president. Atiku is contesting to be a president. Tinubu is contesting to be a president. But when you look at the theory of them, but when you look at it, three of them have structures. You know, two. Atiku has structure with PDP. Tinubu has a structure, but Obi had no structure, but is popular. I was very popular when I was contesting to be a governor, but I had no structure because Ajashi was there, Ade Farati was there, Fasami were there, with their own establishment, with their structure. So I was young, so it was not easy for me to break through.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned the late Ayo Fasami.
Yeah.
I know it is on record that two of you are Ekitis. He may be late. How come the two of you? He lived all his adult life in Osogbo. You have lived all your adult life. You are from Ikole Ekiti.
Yeah.
Is it by sheer coincidence or?
It's coincidence. And my own was based on what I've told you, research.
Yeah.
Feasibility that favored my party. And was much, much older than me. And when I was going to politics, was one of those people backing me up.
Okay. But you were talking of no structure. He had a structure.
Yeah, but he has a lower voice among his colleagues.
Okay. So you lost to
Olumilua.
And then, so that ended your political ambition?
Yeah. But
it ended it? You didn't re-energize it? Are you a coward?
I'm not. I'm a I want to tell you, I'm a friend to nearly all of them, even up to now. I'm a friend to Atiku. and Tinubu to they are all my friends because.
Okay. Okay, it wasn't just that you ended your political, but the fact was that you had a second address. Can I say it that way? So when you lost, you had somewhere else to go. Some of our politicians don't have second addresses.
Yes, like I was telling Larry Beshola sometimes, when he was asking me that, when I lost my election, what were you doing? I said, Your Excellency, unlike you people, it is litigation upon litigation. I cannot go for litigation if I lose any election.
You don't even have the money.
If I have the money, because I want to help the masses will not allow me. Let me go and stay in my house. I have a second option. I went back to my factory, and not only that, I will always be relevant, and I'm relevant up to this very good moment.
May you continue to be relevant.
Amen.
The element or factor of relevance push you from science into politics, and then much later on into industries.
Yes.
Sometime in the late 90s, you became national president of NASI.
Yeah.
What was NASI?
Nigerian Association of Small-Scale Industrialists.
Anything different from what we see these days, SMEDAN, etc., etc.?
Yes.
Fundamentally different?
Fundamentally, there are differences. NASI is being organized by the private sector. SMEDAN was established by government, but through my own advice. When I went to India, we knew that they had something, they call it SIDA, Small Industrial Development Agency. So when I came, we now put on a proposal for the federal government. Luckily, Obasanjo was the one who approved of it through article. So that was why we have SMIDA and its government agency. So that different organizations.
Yeah. But industrialization, they are all into small scale, medium size.
Oh yes, working towards the same goal.
You became the president of NASI and you were there for how many years?
I was there for 4 years.
Okay. What can you tell us happened during your tenure?
Well, I was trying to institutionalize the association before I left. And that was why I told you I was one of those people who established and introduced Bank of Industry to Nigeria. It's an achievement on our part and my contribution. Then I was one of those people who wrote a proposal to establish SMEDAN.
Okay. And
it spread across the whole federation. And right now, I've put on another organization, which is Micro, Small, and Medium Enterprises Organization of Business Organization of Nigeria. It's an umbrella body for all MSME operating at the informal sector of Nigeria economy.
So we can say that these are some of the things I do recall, because I was an active journalist then. You had cause to, the president had cause to put you on his entourage for some visitations, business visitations abroad.
Yeah.
Would you like to share those moments with us?
Yes. Immediately I became the president of NASI in 1998. Not quite a month. Abdul Salam sent to me, okay, and he took me to United Nations. And that was why I was accredited as a Nigerian advisor to United Nations Summit in New York. So I was one of the people on that entourage. And when Obasanjo took up, I traveled with him more than 12 times to all parts of the world on economy-related matters for Nigeria. So that's it.
So would you say these are not legacies, are they? They were functionals, the functions that you undertook while you were there. You've mentioned one or two of industry, etc. But look around and say, these are the legacies I left as president of NASI for 4 years.
For example, now there are many things I did to change the policy, industrial policy of the government to favor the people operating at the informal sector of Nigerian economy. Like most of the things, okay, look at the COVID intervention now. One of those things that prompted it because already there's unity among the people operating and the government is very conscious. So those are the things we do. We change the policy of the government to favor the informal sector of the economy.
Okay, we'll still be back with you. We want to go on a break. When we come back, we will resume our conversation on pertinent questions. There are still a few pertinent questions I would like to ask. To the viewer at home, I have been discussing on this program pertinent questions. Indeed, I have been asking some very pertinent questions concerning the life experiences and the professional excellence of a man who today is almost an 80-year-old, but still waxing stronger. Dr. Albert Olajide Akinyemi. We will be back. You can always be following us on our social media handles on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Western Spring Television. You can also watch us live on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television. We are due for a break. We will be back, sir.
Prince Royal was born 6th of December 1910 at Raba Village, Sokoto, northwestern Nigeria. His father was a district head and heir apparent to the Sultanate throne from the house of Usmanu Danfodio, a religious and social reformer who brought the Habib dynasty under the Fulani Caliphate in the beginning of the 19th century. Ahmadu Bello raised the bar of political consciousness and participation when, in 1944, he engineered the establishment of the Northern People's Congress (NPC) as the first political party in northern Nigeria and the rallying point for politicians in the region before independence. History will not forget Ahmadu Bello for his charisma and political sagacity, which provided easy passage for his kinsmen to assume political and administrative positions in Nigeria's post-independence era. The distinguished elder statesman and Sardauna of Sokoto has his face on his country's 200 naira currency as a mark of honor to one of the architects of Nigeria's independence. Western Spring Television identifies Ahmadu Bello as a watershed character in history. Born Jeremiah Oyeni Obafemi on March 6, 1905, Obafemi Awolowo was a prime architect of Nigeria's independence and most consummate advocate of free education and social welfare in Africa's most populous nation. Erudite politician, thinker, and philosopher, Awo was fondly addressed by associates and political colleagues, brought his unique attributes to bear on governance in the defunct Western region. He administered as leader of government business and the premier between 1955 and 1958. Obafemi Awolowo's premiership witnessed pioneering in multi-sectoral policy initiatives and execution. The Western region under his administration paraded several enviable records. First television station in Africa, first real estate in Nigeria, first high-rise building in Nigeria, first modern sports stadium in Nigeria, first agricultural settlement in Nigeria, first modern civil service secretariat in Nigeria, and first industrial estate in Nigeria. His face is on 100 naira denomination as a mark of honor for his distinguished services to his country. Western Spring Television identifies Obafemi Awolowo as a major character in history.
Welcome back to Pertinent Questions. And I have with me in the studio a man I describe as a foremost scientist who went into politics and delved into industries now. Dr. Akinyemi, we were discussing NASI, etc. I want you to look at the possibility. I mean, for the ordinary man on the street, you hear NASI today, you hear small, medium scale industries, you hear SMEDAN. What, is there any interlink amongst all these?
Not much interlink. What SMEDAN is a product established by the federal government, but through the initiative of the private sector, of which I was involved. But the organization is being managed. NASI is just being organized by you and me, private sector organized initiative. So we criticize the government when they are not looking into the side of the informal sector. And we change the policy. We encourage the government to change the policy to suit that particular subsector of Nigeria economy. That's what we are. So there are differences between the two. Anyway, but they are working towards the same goal.
Do you have a kind of umbrella system that brings all of you together?
And that is why we have established micro, small, and medium enterprises business organization of Nigeria. MSME Forum.
Okay.
We have our office at the African University of Science and Technology in Abuja.
Okay. Okay. All right. As an elder statesman, what is happening in our country today should worry you. I mean, a situation in which we have had over the years, insecurity, a situation in which currently we are finding it difficult to lay hands on petrol. Yeah, finding it difficult to lay hands on cash, and in the process, to put food on the table.
And people are dying.
Okay. Let's. What's your take? How do you feel as a Nigerian and as an elder statesman?
Well, for me, at 80 years of age, I feel sad. And sad in the effect that I've never seen a situation like this since I was born 80 years ago. The country is seriously operating at the lowest ebb in all aspects of life. Even the animals in the bush, they are enjoying more than we human beings in the country as of today because of leadership. The country has a serious leadership problem. And until we correct our leaders or the leadership position, Nigeria will never get it straight. Look at it now, there's no money, people are dying. Like I'm here. I was looking for dollar, I went to the bank, they said...
Naira or dollar?
Sorry, Naira. They said, they cannot even give me 5,000. I cannot easily buy it. They said, we should transfer money. I've transferred money 2 or 3 times. At the internet.
It didn't land.
It didn't land. As I'm talking right now, some people are in my house that I'm supposed to transfer or that have transferred and did not enter. So where are we going? It has never been like this. It's awkward. It's very awkward, very sympathetic. The common people are really operating at the lowest ebb, and they are perishing, they are dying every day.
You use the word until we correct the expression, until we correct our leadership.
Oh, yeah.
What do you mean by that? I want an explanation.
Well, if you want to put somebody to govern you, you will ask yourself, can this one govern me? What are the qualities in him to govern me? Is he govern me by lies? Is he to govern me because he has little money that are stolen? So these are leaders, the type of leaders that are ruling Nigeria as of today. They are not supposed to be there. Let us face reality. At 80 years, I don't need anything. I'm expecting my grave, and I want to pass on quietly and happily. But leaving people behind sovereign is saddened to people like myself. Saddened. You see, our leaders, they have to change from the president to the ministers. Look at it. Why are we having them senates earning millions and millions and millions of naira? And some people will just put about 1 or something billion in the what do you call it? Sock away.
Okay.
It's bad. It's very bad. It's very bad. Where millions of people are wallowing in abject poverty. It's bad. It's very bad. They have no conscience.
Okay. But you see, this brings us to another pertinent question. Must Nigeria, from the leadership we have had so far, these 60 years, can Nigerians continue to exist in terms of governance the way we are? Mustn't there be a kind of change? We started with the prime ministerial model. We chose a very elaborate presidential for it. You elders, what is your thinking?
My thinking is they should make politics a part-time business. Because people now, instead of you say as a journalist, we know you are as a very good veteran journalist.
Thank you, sir.
And you have made your name. But now if you go into politics, and you make a journalist your hobby, and politics your profession. Okay. How will you feel? You will not be able to perform well. Yeah. Maybe you're going there to steal money.
God forbid.
No, God forbid. So what I'm trying to point out, we have to get it right. They should make politics a part-time business. The type of money they are giving to politicians, they are giving it to them to encourage them not to do any of their own profession. They don't practice their profession again. They only make their profession hobbies. Okay.
That's very good. You have a very little time more to spend. I want to take you back to your secondary school days. Yeah. Reading from your biography, I realized you attended Ifaki Grammar School. It means, therefore, that you were a classmate of Chief Ebenezer Babatokwe.
No, Ebenezer Babatokwe was my senior.
Senior? Yeah. Okay.
And he was an ebullient, intelligent, forthright student, and his son, a clergyman that was highly respected when he was in the secondary school. Even he started politics in the secondary school. Okay. You can't believe it. Much enlightened than most of us in the secondary school.
How many years was he your senior?
About 2. When he was in Form 6, we were in Form 3.
Okay. Okay. He left. Okay. All right. And then you continued from where?
I finished in Rugby. We were the first set.
Okay. So first set of the school or the sixth form?
The sixth form.
Okay. Look at this. You went to school in very two rural areas. Yes. Was this part of what endeared you into coming into the rural setting to establish an industry?
Oh my God! It was by, in those days we were very primitive.
Yeah.
I come from Ikole Ekiti.
Yeah. Also a rural setting.
A rural setting. And we were very local. Somebody interviewed me of recent. Said, well, how did you find yourself in UK? Then I told him that when I got to UK from a local area, are you listening?
Yeah.
I put my box on my head, not knowing that I should look for cab to help me. And I was knocking the door of houses to look for accommodation instead of ringing the bell.
Johnny just come.
Johnny just come because we are very local.
Okay.
So, and it helped me.
Yeah. It has helped you too.
It has helped me too.
Now you are 80.
I'm 80.
On Saturday, you will be 80.
Yes. And you will be there in Jesus' name.
Amen. You're just inviting me.
Yes.
But how does it feel to be 80?
Oh.
And what do you expect on your 80th birthday?
No, the children organized it. They said they should celebrate their father.
Okay.
And I sincerely appreciate it.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to that particular day.
A glorious day.
A glorious day.
We wish you the very best.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Albert Olajide Akinyemi, founder of Nobatech, which is only moribund but not dying, and hopefully will be resuscitated in due course, because as I've said, a new king will know Joseph.
Yes.
To the viewer at home, this is about a convenient spot to draw the anchor on today's edition of Pertinent Questions. We have been discussing in a very homely chat with a great Nigerian who is an industrialist, is a scientist, was one time a politician and a humanist, Dr. Albert Olajide Akinyemi. Until next week, when we bring you another presentation, it's time to remind you that you can always follow us on our social media handles on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Western Spring Television. You can also watch us live on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television. I am your alternate anchor, Adetoye Shitwalamo, thanking you for watching, saying bye-bye for now.